Jon Stewart destroys GOP anti-drag queen argument over hypocrisy of guns. In the latest episode of his Apple TV series, The Problem with Jon Stewart, Stewart sat down with Oklahoma Senator Nathan Dahm to discuss the lawmaker's pro-gun stance as the U.S. faces an increased number of mass shootings. The Republican politician has filed bills loosening Oklahoma gun restrictions. This included an anti-red flag law, which would make it easier for people who are deemed dangerous by police or family members to access firearms. Dahm said he believed that allowing more guns in the U.S. will result in a safer nation, which Stewart quickly called into question. He asked, quote, "You're saying more guns makes us more safe?" End quote. To which Dahm said, yes. Dahm proceeded to proverbially shoot himself in the foot when Dahm argued it's the individual that is the problem, rather than easy access to arms. Jon Stewart also questioned Dahm about why he and many other Republicans want to ban children from seeing drag performances. Stewart asked the politician why he felt so strongly about the kid-friendly and physically harmless events, but cared very little about the gun violence epidemic in the U.S. The interview clip has been widely shared on social media, with many, including basketball legend LeBron James, praising Stewart for holding Dahm to account and interrogating him on his pro-gun, anti-drag logic. Nathan Dahm is a goddamn dummy. Really, how is it possible to love Jon Stewart any more than we already do?
Yeah.
And by the way, I can hardly wait for the Broadway premiere of the new musical, Oklahomophobia.
Oklahomophobia.
You're very funny. I love your puns and your wit.
Really?
I do. I'm a sucker
Tonight,
for
I
them.
disagree with you on almost every single thing. No,
Including that.
right.
I can't.
No, but I do. I love a bad pun. Anyway.
What is this red flag law that he's talking about?
Well, in broad terms, without getting into the specifics of that, one of the reasons, and by the way, we're very sorry at Queer News Tonight that we could not show you this video. Apple has it tied down so tight, you can't see it anywhere except Apple. However, go and watch it. It is so incredible because rarely, now to the answer of your question, rarely in the conversation, he talks mostly about guns, and Jon Stewart is keenly interested about what's happening in guns. He walks him to the conclusion of him saying more guns means we're safer. We have 400 million guns in America, and we have the highest number of gun deaths in the world. More guns mean we'll be safer? I mean, he looks so ridiculous, the senator from Oklahoma.
And he said yes.
And he said yes, exactly. He looked ridiculous. But what was really interesting in the moment is the reason why we encourage you to go to Apple and see this exchange moment is because rarely, after the defense of guns and defense of guns and defense of guns and safety and protection, etc., do you see the Hansel and Gretel moment of putting down the breadcrumbs and Hansel and Gretel come right along and let me bring you to my oven. Let me open the door now. Let me put some more breadcrumbs in the oven. Please, Hansel and Gretel, get in the oven and then close the door. You watch that moment.
Brilliant.
Jon Stewart brilliantly walks this senator to the conclusion of going, wait, protection, and what you're doing on drag law is to protect children from people that are highly sexualizing dress, which is what drag queens are. Is that important to you? Yes, it's an absolute critical issue. But and then Jon Stewart goes, but the number one thing that's actually affecting children in America is gun deaths. You're not caring about that, but you're worrying about drag queens. And you watch the senator from Oklahoma basically go blank because he's watching inside the oven as the oven door closes on you.
I am watching this tonight when I get home.
I encourage you.
hysterical.
That's
I
the
am
answer
so
on the red flag. He just crushes him in terms of how gun laws and how their exact same philosophies of trans and drag queens and all of the other ridiculous culture gaslighting issues that are going on was just crushed.
I'm not
We
aware.
love you more now, Jon Stewart.
I'm not
We totally do. I mean,
aware.
literally, listen, think about it. He did what we would all want to do, right? Like, just like sit a senator down and go, okay, now you're accountable for me. Let's go.
Yeah.
You chose to do this, this, and this. You agree with this, this, and this. How do you feel? Right there to his face.
I'm gonna piss a lot of people off. As outstanding as Jon Stewart was in this moment, again, we encourage you, watch this on Apple Television. We would show it to you if we could. It is so incredible. However, I do have to congratulate Senator Dahm of Oklahoma, because the Ted Cruz moment would have been just to explode and walk off the step.
Yeah.
The Ron DeSantis moment would have been just to sit there and not speak. Look left, look right.
I wrote a book. Read it.
Yeah, and that would have been his strategy and answer. Right. Dahm at least tries to stay in the conversation and even prompts when Jon Stewart says, do you know what? You're probably going to tell me, and fills in the blank. At least I give him credit of staying in the conversation. He got crushed and the oven door got closed on him, but I do congratulate him above a Ron DeSantis or a Ted Cruz or a Lady G in South Carolina, because at least he stayed in the conversation.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.